Now let's talk about how generative AI actually works, because there are multiple layers to it. Okay, so we're going to look at the different layers of a generative AI system. Every AI system starts with data, huge amounts of data. You can see in the image there are many types of data. They usually don't mix things up. So data is fed into fancy algorithmic models in order to train the models. And once we know the models are doing what we want them to do, we end up with what we call a foundation model. They're called foundation models because they can be repurposed and used over and over and over again for lots of different things. Okay, so let's add our next layer. Once we have our foundation model, we're ready to do something with it. We'll call this an adaptation. Now, there are lots of adaptations we can make from our foundation models. Everything from answering questions like GPT does, to information extraction like Google and Alexa do, to object recognition, and so on. Let's look at the process a little more closely. So when it comes to artificial intelligence, the first thing we do is help the AI understand the language. Then the models classify all the parts of the language. That means putting words together in classification. For example, things that are about cars or health or schools get classified together. Parts of speech get classified, like nouns and verbs and adjectives. Yes, both things can be true. So a lot of classifying takes place when we're training our AI data to create a foundation model. So those are our building blocks of a foundation model. And then we add our adaptation. You could also call this the user experience layer to generate new things, phrases, concepts, sentences, paragraphs, stories, reports, books, novels, and so on. Let's look at that part next. So this is a picture of a neural network. Frankly, it gives me hives, but I have to show you this part. With generative AI, as an end user, you always start with a prompt, what you want the AI to do. So on the left, we put our prompt into a chat window, maybe something like, give me an awesome gripping headline for a LinkedIn post about generative AI. The system breaks my question down into all the parts of speech and categories and themes therein. So that's the yellow part on the left. That's my input. Then the system goes out and activates what's called a neural network. And it goes about trying to make sense of what I've asked, parsing the words, assembling the phrases, looking for good examples, kicking out the bad ones so I don't see those. It's very busy in there. And then finally, it generates a response on the other side. Now, I have no clue how that neural network did that, and here's a little foreshadowing into the next module. Most machine learning engineers can't explain it either. And that is why we call a neural network a black box.